Donald Trump has announced plans for a new big boy toy to show off to the world.
In the campaign, I promised the American people that I would build a cutting-edge missile defense shield to protect our homeland from the threat of foreign missile attack. And that's what we're doing. Today, I'm pleased to announce that we have officially selected an architecture for this state-of-the-art system that will deploy next-generation technologies across the land, sea, and space, including space-based sensors and interceptors. And Canada has called us, and they want to be a part of it. So we'll be talking to them. They want to have protection also. So as usual, we help Canada do the best we can. This design for the Golden Dome will integrate with our existing defense capabilities and should be fully operational before the end of my term. So we'll have it done in about 3 years. Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles, even if they are launched from other sides of the world and even if they are launched from space. And we will have the best system ever built.
The best system ever. The Golden Dome is Trump's version of Israel's Iron Dome, or his imagined version, I suppose. Israel's Iron Dome uses surface-to-air missiles to knock incoming rockets out of the sky. Trump, though, wants his Golden Dome to knock out incoming missiles from space. Now, that would require a network of satellites for detection and presumably some armed spacecraft to shoot down any intercontinental weaponry. Apparently, this could be done with lasers. Trump has announced an initial $25 billion for the project, and he said it's expected in total to be a $175 billion investment. So does it make any sense at all? Well, expert analysis is mixed. This was Michael O'Hanlon from the Brookings Institution speaking to Deutsche Welle.
Donald Trump says a lot of things that are half crazy, but the overall argument here is worth taking seriously because, as you probably know, we already have a bit of a national missile defense. It's based primarily in Alaska and California, designed primarily against a North Korean ICBM threat, and now roughly 15 years old. And we're trying to upgrade that, but it's not particularly capable against Iran if they ever develop a nuclear capable missile. It's not capable against launches from the East in general. And if you're worried about an accidental launch or a coercive threat with somebody saying we'll launch 1 or 2 missiles at you if you don't do X, Y, or Z, this kind of a system has a certain logic. What does not have a logic is believing you could actually provide an airtight coverage of the whole country against any and all missile attacks, including all-out attacks from Russia or China. And if President Trump chases that dream, it may be a little more technologically plausible than under Ronald Reagan's Star Wars vision, but it's going to be in excess of trillions of dollars in ultimate expense and still probably not be anywhere near a perfect protection.
Of course, if the US does embark on a multiple trillion-dollar project involving satellites in space, one man above all else could be set to receive a windfall. In fact, back in April, Reuters reported that Elon Musk's SpaceX was the frontrunner to build Trump's Golden Dome missile shield. That's not especially surprising. As well as Musk being Trump's biggest backer, his company is the world leader in launching satellites. Since 2019, SpaceX has launched more than 6,400 Starlink satellites, which now account for around 3/4 of all active satellites in space. To say this presents a conflict of interest, though, would be an understatement of stratospheric proportions. And if this works out for Musk, he could end up, not only with more cash, but vastly more power. This is from the Reuters piece. In an unusual twist, SpaceX has proposed setting up its role in Golden Dome as a subscription service in which the government would pay for access to technology rather than own the system outright. The subscription model, which has not been previously reported, could skirt some Pentagon procurement protocols, allowing the system to be rolled out faster, the two sources said. While the approach would not violate any rules, the government may then be locked into a subscription and lose control over its ongoing development and pricing, they added. Some Pentagon officials have expressed concerns internally about relying on the subscription-based model for any part of the Golden Dome, two sources told Reuters. Such an arrangement would be unusual for such a large and critical defense program. So this is crazy, right? obviously the conflict of interest here is enormous. You've got someone who's the biggest backer of Donald Trump, who is in line to get billions, potentially trillions of dollars in government money to build a defense system. But as I said earlier, there's also a strange situation, which it is hard to deny in a way that Elon Musk and SpaceX would be well placed to do this kind of project. They are, far ahead of anyone else putting satellites in space. But the idea, that's not to say I think it's a good idea, right? But the idea that this would be a subscription service, so like Amazon Prime, and you know what it's like being part of a subscription service? They just sort of email you every now and again saying, oh, we've decided to put up our prices by £2.50 this year, or in this case, by £4 billion a month this year, whatever. The idea that the US government could be renting its satellite defense system from Elon Musk, which I suppose also implies, because obviously it doesn't work out for Elon Musk if it's a subscription service, if the US is the only potential customer. It seems as if if the US is renting it from Elon Musk and then China offers a bit more money, or if the US says we can't afford this anymore, then Elon Musk says, well, I'll have to sell it to someone else then. Like, this is insane that this would be a subscription-based model like Amazon Prime, like Spotify Premium, I suppose like X Premium, right? Which doesn't seem to function particularly well. And maybe this will just be on X, the app for everything, which includes missile domes. And perhaps to create a tiny illusion of distance from the White House, because this is so obviously corrupt, Musk has recently announced his intention to step back from the day-to-day running of Trump's Department for Government Efficiency. And in an interview with Bloomberg this week, he suggested he'd step back from political funding as well.
I think in terms of political spending, I'm going to do a lot less in the future.
And why is that?
I think I've done enough.
Is it because of blowback?
Well, if I see a reason to do political spending in the future, I will do it. I do not currently see a reason.
Helena, what do you think of the idea of the United States renting a missile system from Elon Musk?
I feel like if you typed into DeepSeek, can you give me like a parody policy to satirize the collapse of neoliberalism in a kind of most succinct manner possible? This is exactly the kind of policy that it would spit out from the AI system, of course, that it is, which it's just incredible to me. It's incredible to me. Like, you've got all the worst parts of platform capitalism, of being essentially entirely at the mercy of the kind of the feudalists who own kind of the actual capital itself, being able to extract all of this from the government, having privatized all of the gains and socialized all of the losses, and not just for anything that's like potentially at least strategically important, something that is entirely, as far as I can see, a white elephant. Like a giant white elephant. Can you have universal healthcare in America? No, in fact, we're going to cut a bunch of things from Medicare and Medicaid. But what we can give you is this missile defense project for a threat that doesn't exist right now anyway, is a copy of a missile defense system from a completely different area of the world, from a country of a completely different size, defending against a completely different kind of attack. Right? Remember, the Iron Dome is there to protect against the Qassam rocket, ones which are so makeshift the Israeli government decided to block cookies from going into Gaza in case they were used to make rocket fuel, right? And they're wanting to copy the same kind of format to try and protect America from ICBMs. And as has been pointed out already, the idea they could get unilateral coverage over the entirety of the United States, and of course, they probably want to have all of its overseas territory as well, is quite frankly for the birds. And anyway, like, who is attacking America, especially since they already have levels of conventional missile interception anyway? All this stands to reason that it's one big corrupt project to funnel money out of what could be going into public services that Elon Musk has cut, funnily enough, into both his pockets and, of course, the pockets of defense contractors like Lockheed Martin. When it comes to Donald Trump, I think he's probably fully sold on the idea this is going to be some grand project to protect what he described as the homeland. Interesting how much kind of Israeli verbiage is kind of seeped into these kinds of projects that he's kind of copying here. The America isn't a homeland. It's a settler colonial state, right? I guess Israel is too, but they perceive it to be a homeland, at least on ethnic grounds. Like, America is entirely made up of a patchwork of different things. But regardless, I saw Lockheed Martin, that's another potential contractor for this, talk about this in the same terms as just defense for the homeland. Do they have any actual kind of details of what any of their role in this would be? No, it was all just kind of marketing guff on their website about the announcement of the Golden Dome project. Which, as far as Trump is concerned, as I said, I think he genuinely believes in the project. As far as the rest of the Republican Party are concerned, I fully believe that all of this is just yet another scheme to funnel public money into the pockets of defense contractors, because at the end of the day, they're the people who hold the real political power. One last thing I would say, when it comes to Elon Musk, sure, I think there is some level to which he's wanting to step back so that the corruption isn't very open. But also from the stories that we've heard already, people in the Republican government hate Elon Musk. They find him irritating. And he's also bad for them politically. Remember, he sunk all of that money into the Wisconsin Supreme Court election, and they did worse after he put all that in. All the stuff that he's done, that, again, the Republicans already wanted to do, like cut a bunch of government services, all part of the Project 2025 plan, right? He's taken all of the flack for all of the Doge cuts that were part of the Republican project, but he's the face of it. So really, it's a way of trying to give the Republicans plausible deniability and say, oh, no, all of those cuts that you hate, that was all Elon Musk's problem. He's gone now. Now you can just love us the fact we're giving you this missile defense project, which, as far as I can see, serves no real purpose at all.